The EU has presented a fresh trade proposal to the US as it tries to revive stalled talks with President Trump's administration. The offer includes phased tariff cuts on non-sensitive goods, plus cooperation in energy, AI, and digital infrastructure. The EU is readying some $108 billion in retaliatory tariffs if talks fail to sweeten the deal. EU officials are also willing to extend a 2020 tariff-free arrangement on US lobster imports, as reported by the Foot. That pact, which expires in July, helped boost US exports to the bloc and could form part of a broader trade package. Meanwhile, the US-China trade truce looks shaky as both sides clash days after pausing steep tariffs. China's Commerce Ministry said Wednesday that it would take legal action against any organization or individual assisting the US in discouraging the use of China's advanced semiconductors. Earlier, the US Commerce Department had warned that using Huawei chips anywhere in the world would violate US export controls, before later removing the reference. The back and forth casts a shadow over the trade thaw, as focus turns to broader dialogue amid the 90-day tariff pause. The reciprocal tariffs have already had profound effects on the country's trade. Chinese shipments of Apple's AAPL iPhone and mobile devices to the US fell to their lowest since 2011 in April. Businesses and leaders continue to warn about the early effects of the tariffs. JP Morgan, JPM CEO Jamie Dimon said Wednesday that he can't rule out that the US economy will fall into stagflation as the country faces huge risks from geopolitics, deficits, and price pressures. On Wednesday, Nike NKE said it will raise prices on some adult gear by up to $10 next week but keep kids' prices flat. It's also returning to Amazon AMZN after 6 years to boost reach and compete with new arrivals. Last week, Walmart WMT previewed coming price hikes, sparking a rebuke from Trump, who told the company to eat the tariffs. The warnings come as the Trump administration has ratcheted up its rhetoric. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said recently that tariff rates will go back to reciprocal levels if countries do not make trade deals with the US during the 90-day pause. President Trump has put them on notice that if you do not negotiate in good faith, you will ratchet back up to your April 2 level, Bessent told CNN. Here are the latest updates as the policy reverberates around the world. Business confidence has improved in May from the worrying slump seen in April, with gloom about prospects for the year ahead lifting somewhat thanks largely to the pause on higher rate tariffs, S&P Global Market Intelligence chief business economist Chris Williamson said in the release. Still, the data showed clear signs that tariffs are beginning to push prices higher and cause supply chain problems. Supply chain delays are now more prevalent than at any time since the pandemic led to widespread shortages in 2022, and prices charged for both goods and services have spiked higher as firms and their suppliers seek to pass on tariff levies to customers, Williamson said. The overall rise in prices charged for goods and services in May was the steepest since August 2022, which is indicative of consumer price inflation moving sharply higher. Ralph Lauren is among the retailers and luxury brands facing the brunt of unpredictable US tariff shifts that have disrupted businesses and rattled shoppers worldwide. In fiscal 2024, the company sourced about 96% of its products from outside the US, with 15% coming from China, according to its annual filings. China is also a major market for Ralph Lauren products. In its monthly economic report for May, the government also revised down its assessment for the US economy for the first time in nearly 3 years to say its expansion was moderating. A pickup in the global economy is moderating with growth stalling in some regions amid uncertainty over US trade policy, the report said. In April, the government said global economic growth was picking up. The government maintained its assessment on Japan's economy, saying it is recovering moderately, while uncertainty exists over US trade policy.